May 6, 2014. Lake Oconee, Georgia. The water was calm. The sun was high. Everything seemed fine. But the front door sat wide open. A man's body lay in the garage. His head was gone. Blood stained the floor. No glass was broken. No alarm rang. No one screamed. A woman was missing. No one knew where she was. What horror had slipped inside a safe home? What if it happened to your grandparents? What if neighbors couldn't save them? This really happened. This is no fairy tale. Subscribe to Unbelievable True Story. Because evil doesn't live in movies. It lives next door. And the next story could be about anyone. May 6, 2014. Reynolds Plantation, Lake Oconee, Georgia, USA. This was a quiet place. A safe place. Homes stood tall by the lake. Lawns were neat. Golf carts moved slow. You could hear birds in the morning. Soft waves on the shore. Neighbors greeted each other. Young kids rode bikes at dusk. And in one house lived Russell and Shirley Dermond. Two old people. In love. 4 decades. They had 4 children. They laughed at family dinners. They held hands on their porch. She wore pastel dresses. He had white hair and kind eyes. At night, they watched TV in their living room. They spoke soft words. They prayed. They slept, side by side. Their kids thought, this is how love should be. The Dermonds weren't rich celebrities. But they were rich in love. And rich in kindness. They invited neighbors to supper. They baked pies. They threw parties for the Kentucky Derby. They wore matching jackets at church. Neighbors knew them. Claudia next door smiled when she saw Shirley. Ben waved when Shirley watered her flowers. Mark tipped his cap to Russell on the golf green. They seemed safe. You would never guess trouble would come. The night before was calm. They ate supper. Watched the news. Went to bed. Like always. Then the next morning. No one answered the door. No one came out. That was not like them. So friends knocked. They called. They peeked in windows. All quiet. No TV sound. No dog barking. No lights. Then the door to the garage was open. Inside, neighbors froze. They saw him first. Russell. On the cold floor. His body. His head gone. They stared. They gasped. Blood on concrete. Fresh. Red. It glowed in sunrise. Nobody knew what to do. They called 911. Hearts pounded. Sirens came fast. Officers burst in with guns. Their breaths were heavy. They scanned the house. No broken glass. No signs of struggle. No yelling heard. It was too quiet. Then they looked for Shirley. She was gone. Phone on table. Purse by couch. Everything there. But no Shirley. It felt wrong. Like something evil had come in. And stolen their peace. Neighbors cried behind police tape. They hugged each other. They shook their heads. How could this happen here? In this home? To 2 gentle people? The detective said. This looks planned. He spoke quiet. He spoke slow. No smashed windows. No alarms. No strangers. They found Russell's phone. Did he call for help? No record. The killer came. They slipped inside. They silenced two old voices. They stole a grandmother. And they vanished. As the sun climbed, police took photos. They measured blood. They searched for clues. Neighbors stood behind cones. They watched in pain. No one could talk. They all felt the same fear. This can't happen here. But it had already happened. Russell was dead. His body was found. But his head was gone. And Shirley? She was missing. No one knew where she was. Not her children. Not the police. Not the neighbors. It was like she had vanished. But that didn't make sense. She wouldn't leave her husband. Not like that. Not after 62 years of marriage. The police searched the house. Room by room. Closets. Basement. Drawers. Nothing. They looked for fingerprints. For a note. For any sign someone had come in. No broken doors. No windows smashed. No forced entry. And nothing stolen. Shirley's purse was still there. Her ID. Her money. Her keys. Her phone was sitting on the table. But Shirley. Gone. It didn't look like a robbery. It looked like a message. A message? To who? And why cut off Russell's head? What kind of person does that? What kind of monster? The detectives sat at the kitchen table. They looked around. The table was set for breakfast. Coffee cup. Spoon. Napkin folded neat. It looked like any morning. But something evil had come in. Their son, Brad, was the first family member to arrive. He looked at the house. The yellow tape. The police cars. His dad was dead. His mom, missing. He broke down. He fell to his knees. He sobbed. He kept asking, "Where is my mother?" No one could answer. The sheriff stood beside him. He didn't say much. Just put a hand on Brad's shoulder. Later that day, the FBI arrived. So did GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. This case was now big. A headless body. A missing woman. And no answers. They brought dogs. They brought divers. They searched the woods. The water. Every inch of the Dermond's yard. Nothing. No footprints. No tire marks. No broken fence. Nothing made sense. But someone had done this. Someone had come inside. And left no trace. That kind of person. They've done it before. They know what they're doing. Was this a killer for hire? Was it revenge? Was it random? The town began to talk. Whispers in grocery stores. Murmurs at gas stations. Everyone wanted to know. Where was Shirley? Was she dead too? Was she tied up somewhere? Did she watch her husband die? 3 days passed. Then 4. Still no sign. Posters went up. Photos of Shirley. Smiling in her pink sweater. Hair white and neat. Eyes soft and kind. It said, "Missing. 87 years old. Last seen May 5th. Reward, $30,000. The reward grew. So did the fear. Whoever did this was still out there. Russell was found. Dead. Headless. In his own garage. Shirley was found. 10 days later. Floating in the lake. Wrapped in plastic. Tied down with weights. Now both were dead. But the mystery was far from over. The police had questions. Too many. Who killed them? Why? And how did they do it? Without leaving a single clue, doctors began the autopsies. They looked at Russell's body. No signs of struggle. No bruises. No cuts on his arms. But his head was gone. Someone took it. Cut it off clean. Very clean. This was done with skill. Maybe a butcher. Maybe a hunter. Not sloppy. Precise. They never found his head. Not in the woods. Not in the water. Not anywhere. Why would someone take it? Maybe to hide the bullet. Maybe the head shows how he died. They checked Shirley's body next. She was tied with 2 cement blocks. Her body was clean. No blood. No bruises. No gunshot. Just water in her lungs. That meant she was alive when she went into the lake. They drowned her. On purpose. They could have shot her. They could have strangled her. But no. They wanted her to feel it. To struggle. To panic. That was cruel. Too cruel. This wasn't a normal killer. This wasn't random. They didn't steal anything. They didn't leave prints. They didn't rush. This was planned. Step by step. And whoever did it took their time. They killed Russell first. Took his head. Waited. Then took Shirley. Why wait? It's like Shirley saw something. Or knew something. And they needed her quiet. But Shirley couldn't run. She couldn't drive. She didn't even use a cell phone. She was 87 years old. What could she do? Nothing. So why take her? Why not leave her behind? The Dermond children went on the news. They begged for answers. Their son Brad said, "We are hurting. We don't understand. Please, if anyone knows anything, tell the police." But no one came forward. No tips. No leads. No suspects. The family had no enemies. No one hated them. No one wanted their money. Everyone liked them. Neighbors called them kind. Quiet. Normal. So what happened? Why kill 2 sweet grandparents? In a peaceful lakeside home? Something was hidden. Something no one had seen yet. Detectives began to look at the past. Not just the present. They found something strange. Back in 2000, the Dermond's oldest son, Mark, had been murdered. He was 47. Killed during a drug deal. Shot in Atlanta. They found the killer. He went to prison. But now, the police wondered. Was this connected? Was this revenge? Maybe someone blamed the Dermonds. Maybe they thought the family owed them. But it had been 14 years since Mark died. Would someone really wait that long? Russell's missing head. Shirley drowned. Those weren't just ways to kill. They were messages. It was meant to scare. Meant to shock. Meant to say something. But what? What message was the killer sending? To the family? To the world? Or to someone we don't even know about? Maybe there was a secret. One the Dermonds took to the grave. And maybe that secret is why they died. Weeks passed. Then months. Then years. Still no arrests. No new clues. No confessions. The case went cold. But the pain? It stayed hot. The Dermond children still cry. They still wonder. Every holiday. Every birthday. Every empty chair at the table. They remember. They ache. Because evil came into their parents' home. And never paid the price. The lake was calm. Still. Blue like glass. But deep down, it held a secret. Something dark. Something cold. Just like the killer. 10 days after Russell's body was found, Shirley's body surfaced. It floated up, near a cove. Just a few miles from the Dermonds' house. She was wrapped in plastic. Weighed down with concrete blocks. Still wearing her nightgown. They meant for her to stay down. They didn't want her found. But water has a way of telling the truth. Bubbles had formed. Her body rose. Like it was fighting for justice. One last time. Now the police had more questions. Who knew the lake well? Who had a boat? Who knew where to hide a body? This wasn't random. This was someone who knew Lake Oconee. The killer didn't panic. Didn't rush. Didn't leave tire tracks or prints. He, or she, took Shirley. Put her in a boat. Rowed far into the lake. Tied her up with blocks. And dropped her deep into the water. That takes time. That takes planning. And that means something terrifying. The killer had been there before. Without answers, the world started guessing. Some said it was a robbery gone wrong. But nothing was stolen. Others whispered maybe a drug connection from their son Mark. But that was 14 years ago. Some even said it was a professional hit. They were targeted. Maybe mistaken identity. Too many theories. Too few facts. We were stuck. No leads. No suspects. No justice. Investigators focused on one thing. The boat. Someone had to move Shirley's body. And it wasn't from the road. There were no drag marks. No blood trails. No car was caught on camera. It had to be a boat. But there was a problem. Lake Oconee is big. Huge. Lots of people live there. Lots of boats. Lots of docks. Anyone could have done it. And no one saw anything. Someone was watching. But no one was watching them. The Dermonds lived in a gated community. It had cameras. It had guards. But there was a back gate. No camera. No guard. It led straight to the woods. And straight to their house. The killer could have come through there. Late at night. No one would notice. He knew where to go. He didn't wander. He had a plan. This wasn't just a killing. It was a hunt. Here's the part that chills the spine. There was no forced entry. No broken windows. No kicked-in doors. Russell opened that door. He let the killer inside. That means he knew them. A friend? A neighbor? Someone from church? Someone who smiled at them. And then killed them. Years later, the Dermonds' daughter spoke to a news crew. Her voice shook. She said, "We've tried to move on. But we can't. There's no peace. There's no end. Whoever did this is still free." Then she said something that broke hearts. "I just want to know. Did they suffer? Were they afraid? That's the pain no one sees. The questions that never go away. The case is still open. The FBI helped. The GBI searched. But still, no answers. No arrest. No trial. No justice. Just a quiet house. A calm lake. And 2 graves. The Dermonds' home still stands. Big. Beautiful. Quiet. But inside, something feels wrong. The living room is still. The kitchen is clean. The bed is made. But the silence? Too heavy. Too deep. It's like the house remembers. Where Russell took his last breath. Where Shirley was stolen. Where evil walked in. And never walked out. Years passed. 2014 turned to 2015. Then to 2016. And 2017. Still, no one came forward. No new leads. No new answers. Just silence. Police tried again. They looked at boats. Neighbors. Past family connections. Still nothing. A whole town waited. Hoped. Prayed. But the only thing that returned was the sound of waves hitting the shore. Russell and Shirley's children changed. They used to laugh. They used to visit often. Now, they stay quiet. Their daughter, Leslie, once said, "We don't want revenge. We want truth. We want peace." But how do you find peace when there's no end? Every day, they wake up wondering, who did this? Do we already know them? Are they walking free? Smiling? Over the years, names floated. One man, a career criminal, was looked at. He lived nearby. He had a record. He had a boat. But, no evidence. Another theory. A family friend. Someone close. Too close. But, no charges. A third idea. A stranger. Passing through. A drifter. Maybe a worker doing repairs. But if it was a stranger, how did they get in? How did they know when to strike? Too many questions. Not enough answers. Great Waters was supposed to be safe. It had guards. It had cameras. But evil still got in. Through the trees. Through the dark. Even walls and gates can't stop someone who plans. In their final days, Russell and Shirley were happy. He gardened. She cooked. They took short walks by the water. They had each other. Married over 60 years. 4 kids. 9 grandkids. They survived World War II. Raised a family. Built a life. And then, in one night, it was all torn apart. Why decapitate Russell? Why dump Shirley in the lake? Why no ransom? Why leave no clues? And the biggest question of all. Why them? They were kind. Quiet. Good neighbors. So why? Why? Some think the killer is dead. That's why nothing's been solved. Others believe they're still out there, living a normal life. Smiling in someone's church. Laughing at someone's dinner table. And maybe they think they got away with it. But time remembers. So does truth. So do we. Today, the house is empty. Lights off. Curtains drawn. But if you stand at the edge of the driveway and look at the front door, you'll feel something. A weight. A chill. Like the story is not over. Like someone, or something is still waiting. Russell and Shirley Dermond were real people. Their lives were full. Their ending, unfair. Unsolved. If you're drawn to real stories that stay with you, subscribe now to Unbelievable True Story. Because every week, we reveal the darkest truths hidden in plain sight.